Yeah, and that is the plight of the parent. You know, I'd never played anything. I just became a parent. Well, now she's 2 years old, a little over 2 years old. But when we first started shooting the show, she was 9 months old. She's a tiny little baby. And so as a parent, your sole job in life at this point is to stay alive to protect that kid. That's it. So that energy, you bring it into every scene with you. It's always there. And I learned, you know, there is nothing that can take that away from a parent. And that through line is the most organic, natural, unimpeachable emotion. It's not even an emotion. It's like part of your DNA, you know? Another thing I learned was that on a set, when you're trying to act, you also have to trust the process and the team around you. Because it's my job to get it on camera the best of my ability. Again, if there are times and scenes where I fail, it's failure at me trying to do my best. You know what I mean? So I accept it. And you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. You're like, oh man, that performance didn't work as well as I wanted it to because of X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to let that happen again. Or, you know, but that didn't, it rarely happened on V-Wars. I was learning every second, but also so open and nimble because I would make sure that I was prepared. Because I didn't ever want to step on a set where, as an executive producer or a director or as a lead actor, someone comes up to me and they say, hey, I really don't understand this scene or this setup, or why are we doing this? There's not a second that I want to have to say, hey guys, can someone explain this? I mean, it's my job to know every aspect. And
it's like being a father.
It's like, yeah, kind of, right? Well, this, you know, this show is our baby. This has been 15 months of my life. It's taken me away from my amazing family, my supportive and amazing family. Couldn't have done this without my wife being so supportive, while building her own giant company and breastfeeding and feeding our baby. But you know, I did this to the best of my ability, and you know, working so hard, that so much so that it's like put me in the emergency room for a second. You know what I mean? And for me, I think hell it makes a great story. I won't do that again because now I know my limits. And you learn again from your failures more than your successes. So c'est la vie, as they say, but I say, what an amazing journey. And I'm excited to share it with you guys because this is the first season of what I think, what I hope is something that resonates with you guys. That's a hit show. Fortunately for me, even my first show is a show called Young Americans, which was this WB show. It only won a season, but it still created a lot of chatter and launched a lot of careers. But Lost and Vampire Diaries were these sort of tentpole water cooler shows, right? And I don't have any plans to not build water cooler shows, ones that make you think, ones that make you talk. And we just set up the world enough in season 1 to give you a taste of what we can expand this world to be, and the journey that Luther Swan is going to go down, and the world that's going to be created. So with viewership, that will give us season 2, so I can, create these really sexy, dangerous, unique, and quite controversial storylines that I think will be hard-hitting and still not even diving into, but also addressing and getting into your skin and under your fingernails of those big current things that we're dealing with, which are our borders, racism everyone is experiencing, disease that we're all battling and fighting, the fear that all of us, and whether it's our individuals and households and our governments, are sort of experiencing, and the politics that surround it all, but without bludgeoning people over the head. It's not like I'm giving you my perspective. It's actually what's happening in the world. So I think that once we start seeing, and also too, I can't wait to, I know they have to go, but I also can't wait to sit in a room with an amazing, diverse group of men and women, writers, and really like whiteboard out what are the big things that make society, that prop society up, right? If you think about how fragile our economies and our systems are, right? So what happens, it's a 1 in 4 infection rate, right? So if you get exposed to this prion, there's a 1 in 4 chance that you will turn. Well, there's 7.5 billion of us. What do you think a quarter of that is? What happens when there are so many bloods that a new mortgage crisis happens because people are sick? It's like cancer, but worse. They're not paying their mortgages. What happens when telecommunications companies can't function or utility companies can't function because people aren't paying their bills? What happens in this giant Jenga game when wrong pieces are pulled out? And underneath all of it, for a time, Luther Swan is the one like trying to hold these pieces up to find a race to find a cure, so that he can stop this, because that's his passion and that's his expertise, is infectious disease. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening. I'm sure it bored the shit out of you.
No, it's really interesting. It's so fascinating.
But
the trailer looked amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's going to be fun, but just, look, check it out, share it with your peeps, and let's get into expanding this world and creating some really unique social juxtapositions that just flip us upside down, and build community around it. Look, if one person has a constructive and amazing conversation of something they learn from society or about themselves as a result of the show, then we have succeeded. Hopefully that's on a much bigger scale, but I'll just take one.